Coming up on 13 News at 5, a school on lockdown for most of the day as a woman arrives on campus with a weapon. Now she's under arrest. The very latest on this developing story in a live report. And are your children safe in school when it comes to carbon monoxide poisoning? An alarming event is raising some concerns here.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins in the Storm Tracker 13 Weather Lab, tracking rain, the first of what should be several rounds over the next week. Details right here on 13 News at 5.
Working for you. 13 News in high definition starts now.
Good evening, I'm Don Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us right here on 13 News at 5. We begin tonight with some breaking news in the 13 newsroom where a man has been arrested after a standoff with state troopers. The Logan detachment responded to a call that John Watkins, pictured here, was threatening to commit suicide inside his home in White's Addition. When troopers got there, Watkins came outside, fired a single shot, then went back inside. A 911 dispatcher talked Watkins into leaving his home. Watkins has been charged now with 4 counts of wanton endangerment, 1 count for each trooper at that scene. No troopers, fortunately, were injured in this incident. And reports of a woman with a handgun, that's what parents from one school heard. The initial report puts that school under a lockdown for a couple of hours. The woman, though, was nowhere to be found until now. 13 News reporter Lisa Robbins has been following this story since it broke this morning. She joined us live in the studio with new developments. Lisa?
Don, this is the woman at the center of this frenzy. Her name is Christy Gerald. As of 3 o'clock this afternoon, she's been in the state police's custody. They arrested her at the Rand 7-Eleven, but not before spending hours searching around Kanawha County to find the, quote, woman with a gun.
State police wouldn't let anyone in or anyone out of Cedar Grove Community School after reports of an armed woman on campus surfaced Tuesday morning. School officials say they got a phone call from a family member that this woman, 29-year-old Christy Gerald, stole a gun and might try to see her kids who go to Cedar Grove. Rumors quickly spread around town that Gerald was actually on campus with a gun. That wasn't true, but parents went into a frenzy.
It's just the hearsay. Say somebody's in there with the gun, I don't know nothing about it.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, was she on drugs or you don't know. You don't know what to think.
I was terrified. You know, my kids go here. So I was terrified actually.
The story later turned out to be sort of like a game of telephone. It turns out Gerald did steal a handgun from an Orchard Manor apartment on Charleston's west side overnight. But investigators say that incident had nothing to do with Cedar Grove. We talked to Gerald's uncle, who didn't want to show his face, but says his niece just got out of jail for shoplifting yesterday.
My sister went and got her out of jail for shoplifting yesterday, $500, and dropped her off at Charleston the other day. This is going on.
So between the time she got out of jail and the lockdown this morning, she also stole a handgun. They say Gerald has a drug problem, and while she'll do what it takes to feed her addiction, she would never hurt any child, especially her own.
Gerald is on her way to Kanawha County Magistrate Court to be arraigned right now. We know she's been charged in connection with the stolen handgun from Charleston's west side. We're waiting to see if she'll face any additional charges from today's manhunt. We do have a crew over there right now, and we'll have continuing coverage tonight. Live in the studio, Lisa Robbins, 13 News.
Thank you, Lisa. Now to this. West Virginia State Police say a fired cheerleading coach has been charged with sexually abusing more male students. 31-year-old Amanda Jo Barker of Mannington was charged on Monday with 3 counts of sexual abuse by a person of trust and 1 count of soliciting a minor by computer. The Marion County Board of Education fired the North Marion High School freshman coach last month after she was charged with abusing a 16-year-old male. State police say 2 16- and 17-year-old boys have since come forward with some new allegations. Barker was arraigned in magistrate court and released on a $100,000 bond. Rain once again moving through the region, but how much can we really expect from this storm? Storm Tracker 13 Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins is now live in the Weather Lab with details. Spencer?
Don, we have seen some rain already today. Now there's more rain out to the west, so we had an early round, then it's dying down and drying out temporarily. Let's show you the Storm Tracker 13 HD dual live Doppler radar. Little band of showers in northeast Kentucky. These are drifting to the north and to the east. The heavier rain is still back here to the west a good bit, so we're looking at a couple of hours before this really arrives in there. There's a nice swath of rain between Louisville and Lexington that will move toward us here in the next several hours, arriving after sunset and actually even lingering in the mountains past midnight. more on this. We'll show you how much rain. We'll show you how the temperatures will get back to normal here for a little while in just a few minutes.
See you then. Thank you, Spencer. 42 students were treated at an area hospital just yesterday after extremely high levels of carbon monoxide were discovered in a school. We wanted to know the steps that are taken here when it comes to keeping your children safe. 13 News reporter Jesse Schaefer is live in the newsroom with this story. Jesse?
Don, I spoke with people today who say the policies as they stand are enough to keep the air in our schools safe. But others say our region doesn't need another tragedy to force change.
That's really not what the kids go to school for. They go there to learn, not to be poisoned.
This was the scene in Atlanta after potentially lethal levels of carbon monoxide caused dozens of faculty and staff to become ill.
When I came back to the school, his kids laying on the floor, at least 3, and the teacher saying, "You need help, this child need help. Is it breathing? Are you okay? Do you hear me?"
So we wanted to know what school officials are doing in our region when it comes to keeping kids safe from this colorless, odorless gas.
There's no requirement to my knowledge to have it at school, so that's always was issue.
The issue is carbon monoxide detectors. There currently is no policy in regards to mandating those detectors, but we may be headed in the direction of mandating detectors based on recent instances.
It's not a law yet in schools, but because of the awareness, I think our policies and our procedures are going that way.
Back in January, a carbon monoxide leak from a faulty pool heater caused the death of one man at a Holiday Inn in South Charleston. After that, the laws were changed and that detectors became mandatory in places where people sleep. Dr. Gupta says that's just not enough of a change.
I know both public health and the Board of Education's, at heart is our safety for children. So this is just one of those that we can definitely see an opportunity to work together and see evaluate whether this is something we need to have.
So the question is, are we doing enough to ensure something like what happened in Atlanta doesn't happen in our region?
We take every effort in our preventive maintenance programs, our hardworking staff members out there who maintain our buildings to ensure that the students are safe in West Virginia.
And Dr. Gupta tells me he believes those carbon monoxide alarms should be on par with smoke alarms and that both should be in every school. He tells me his department would be glad to work with the Department of Education in making sure all schools are equipped. Live in the Charleston newsroom, I'm Jesse Schaefer, 13 News. Don.
Sure would make parents and kids feel a little safer there. All right, thank you, Jesse, for that report. Now to this. If a panel has its way, a judge, known more for his screams than his rulings, could be off the bench. The State Judicial Hearing Board wants Putnam County Family Court Judge William WOWK suspended without pay until his term is up. That's not until 2016. They want him censured and fined more than $17,000. We first told you about Judge Watkins' screaming outbursts at people in his court. He's also failed to respond to court orders. The state Supreme Court has to decide to affirm that punishment or not to do so. We'll keep you posted. Now to another issue with another judge. A story you're going to see only here on 13 News. This time, a judge lashing out at a father over child support. 13 News reporter David Iverson joins us live in the studio with more on this story. David?
Right, Don. This courtroom is meant to be a place where very heated arguments and disagreements are worked out. Instead, in Lincoln County, what one person got was a judge who was lashing out over child support payments. It happened this summer in a Lincoln County family courtroom where Judge Scott Ellswick shouted at a man several times. The case is still ongoing, so we're hiding the gentleman's identity.
I've never been disrespected, yelled at, screamed at, humiliated like that in my life.
To Judge Ellswick about this, he tells us that sometimes raising his voice is necessary. We're putting the finishing touches on the full report right now. You can see it tonight at 6. For now, we're live in studio. David Iverson for 13 News.
All right, David, look forward to your next report. WOWK 13, once again, your home for the Chesapeake Energy Capital Classic. And due to the game airing in prime time now, some of your favorite CBS shows are on the move this week. Sorry about that. WVU and Marshall tip-off Wednesday night, 7:30, which means the new episode of Survivor Philippines and Criminal Minds will air at different times. So note this now, the new Survivor episode is set to air Thursday morning at 2:30 a.m. Following the Doctors, the Criminal Minds episode will air Friday morning at 2:30 again, right after the Doctors. And as always, you can get the very latest TV listings on our website, WOWK-TV.com. Still to come here on 13 News at 5, the big baby announcement has come and gone, but the Duchess of Cambridge remains in the hospital with a severe form of morning sickness. We'll have the latest on her condition. And the technology's coming together to make one difficult time a lot easier because there's now an app for that. Stay with us. More 13 News at 5 is coming up.
This is 13 News at 5 on WOWK. Now in high definition with Don Hammond and Storm Tracker 13 weather with meteorologist Spencer Atkins. Now, here's your Storm Tracker 13 weather.
Hi, everybody. Let's check out the Storm Tracker 13 HD live Doppler radar. It does have rain out here. Now, we saw rain in Charleston. We saw rain in Huntington. This first little initial round has kind of dried out, minus a few showers now right around the Ironton-Ashland area. Would slide on in, and we see those right around Ashland with a little bit of rain. This is lifting northeast. Again, it's drier in Huntington and Charleston and Logan and Williamson and Pikeville. But there's more rain back here to the west. We see a couple of showers near Piketon and Waverly, on up toward Chillicothe, sliding back to the west of Lexington. There's rain out here. Some of this is heavy, but this is sliding northeast, so that has a chance of making its way on into, let's say, maybe Scioto County, maybe on over here toward Lewis County, that round of rain. But there's more rain down here southwest of Louisville. That's going to lift in here later on tonight. So again, we'll get some timing on that on Predictor momentarily. But at least we know that it's here. And behind that, things are drier and cooler than these marks. 68 in Huntington, 65 in Charleston right now. So despite little rain, it stayed warm. 68 Jackson, Ohio, 60 Portsmouth, 64 Grayson, 65 in Louisa. Now this is, again, a look at the front. The front itself is being shown just a little bit ahead of the rainfall. So this is going to stretch on for a few hours after the wind direction changes. But this will really dry out here by the morning hours. Again, a little look at what's going on here. By the way, quick reminder, 3 days left, the Marine Corps Toys for Tots drive here, and we're going to cap it off on Friday with the drive-through drop-off at the Brick Street building in Charleston, out on Canal Boulevard in front of the Lincoln statue, and 555 Fifth Avenue, our studios in Huntington. So it looks like it'll be great for that. Travis Persinger sent us a nice Christmas photo right there. We certainly appreciate that, Travis. And Karen Dempsey sent those to us, so a little reminder that you can share those with us. We'd sure love to see them. In the meantime, again, we watch our predictor and we see the rain coming across the neighborhood here, and then it tapers off later tonight. You'll notice after about 1, 2 in the morning, this is all tapering off. Now, that's the first round of several rounds of rain, and in terms of how much rain we could see, well, let's watch it here again. It is still showing us 0.6 to about 0.8 of an inch of rain possible, so that's a significant rain. It's not overly, well, let's not say it's not going to create flooding problems. How about that? That's a better way to put that. 42 degrees, rain and breezy for tonight, tomorrow. Well, we'll go like this. Let's go with the shower east, mainly east of Summersville, 44 degrees at 8 o'clock, 50. Partly cloudy at noontime and 53. So that's much cooler for tomorrow with some sunshine. There you can see your highs, and we're in the low 50s in southern Ohio. Eastern Kentucky is going to check in with very similar marks, which this would be actually maybe even a few degrees warmer. 55 Louisa, 56 Painesville. And Don, these marks would be closer to normal, which is, you know, nice to get back to that kind of an adjustment here. Your high tomorrow, so as we called 53, but your wind out of the northwest at 5 to 10. Here's your 7-day forecast. 56 Thursday, and then here comes more rain, on again, off again, especially right on the Ohio River and out to the west. It doesn't mean you can't have rain in Charleston, can't have rain in Logan. You certainly can, but the heaviest rain will be kind of centered Parkersburg, Huntington, and west, with rounds of rain from Friday through Tuesday. So it could be very wet. We'll have to watch the small streams and creeks, I'm thinking, by early next week.
All right, we will stay tuned for that.
Yep.
Thank you, Spencer. Now to this, Prince William is visiting his wife that's pregnant, of course his wife Kate, in a London hospital where she's spending a second day being treated now for acute morning sickness, they're calling it. Prince William arrived at the private hospital just before noon. Royal officials announced Monday that Kate is pregnant and suffering from a severe form of morning sickness that can lead to dehydration or worse if left untreated, of course. She's expected, though, to remain hospitalized for the next couple of days. Well, most babies are born in a hospital. An Iowa baby will one day be able to tell his friends he was born in a Cadillac. Jarrett Stephen Hovick gave his parents quite a scare Saturday night as he was born early and on the side of I-35 in Ankeny. His mother's labor lasted just 2 hours from beginning to end. Her husband, Stephen, sped down Interstate 35 in a metaphorical race with his son. 911 dispatch told the Hovicks to pull over for assistance. Stephen stopped, but the baby sped up. The family and the baby doing just fine. The explosion only took a few seconds, but it sent the remaining 2 sections of a bridge plummeting into the Missouri River. This morning's blast was part of a $63 million rehabilitation project underway on the span there. approximately 75% of this bridge being replaced or rehabbed. A crowd of about 1,000 gathered at a vantage point on the riverfront. More than 1,000 feet of truss, including 4.5 million pounds of steel, dropped into the river. Gonna have a hard time rehabbing that. I-70 will remain closed while crews sweep up any debris that may have landed on the eastbound span. Now to Australia now, where a business has come up with a new way to help the dearly departed enter the digital age. Developed by a Melbourne funeral company, the app allows all aspects of a final farewell, such as flowers, hearse, and venue, to be picked and priced from a smartphone or tablet. A full quote is then sent to the company, which is confident their own creation won't render them obsolete. Connectivity with Facebook and Twitter also is in development stages for future versions of this app. When we come back tonight, some students in our area got a preemptive wake-up call to stay safe and keep off drugs. Going to take you to Logan County, where they're working for safe and supportive schools. We're working for you on 13 News at 5.
Now, more high-definition local coverage with 13 News.
Welcome back to 13 News at 5. As you know, bullying is a problem in many schools, especially here in West Virginia. And today, students got a wake-up call about this lifelong impacts of that. 13 News reporter Nikki Walters joins us live in studio with more on this story. Nikki?
Don, it was all part of what is called the Safe and Supportive Schools program. Students took part in a behavior intervention program that addressed everything from safety on the internet to bullying to staying off of drugs. U.S. Attorney Booth Goodwin, U.S. Marshal John Foster, and Major General James Hoyer were all among the speakers. Students said the things they heard were a motivation to do the right thing.
Just basically, people should take from this presentation to be kind to others and have a positive outlook on your life.
Mostly it's emotionally. They talk about them, they pick on them, they call them fat and just horrible names, and it really hurts their feelings.
Now, all of the speakers today arrived in a helicopter that landed on the football field. Students from other schools there on the island came out to watch as it took off. Coming up tonight on 13 News at 7, we are going to have much more on this story, including an emotional tale from someone who survived bullying and rose above it. It's a very memorable story that you're going to want to watch with your kids tonight. Again, that's on 13 News at 7. Live in Charleston, Nikki Walters, 13 News.
Thank you, Nikki, for that. Now, when we come back on this Tuesday evening, a landmark shopping center celebrating a big milestone with a complete multi-million-dollar makeover. You're watching 13 News at 5.
13 News in high definition returns now.
Welcome back. April Call joins us now with a look at what she's working on tonight for West Virginia Tonight Live. April?
Don, we're tracking a lot of breaking news right now. We've had updates throughout the day on that school lockdown in Kanawha County, but a school in Randolph County was also put on lockdown this afternoon. We have some images just sent back to us from our crew at the scene. It's near Colton, about 12 miles outside of Elkins. We've been told the kids weren't in danger. The shooting happened at a house right across from the school. That's what led to the standoff with police. The lockdown was really a precaution in order to keep the kids inside and safe until they could be dismissed home. We'll have another update coming up in just a few minutes for you at 5:30. Don?
April, precautions certainly always good. Just in time now for the holiday rush of shopping. The Charleston Town Center announces their completion of their 6-month, $7 million renovation. The company behind the mall put forth the money in an effort to kind of revitalize the center of shopping for the capital city. The mall has a new fountain, new flooring, new signs, and a new color. This is all in time for the 30th anniversary of the mall.
The floor is incredible. The new handrails that you can see through are incredible. But it's amazing watching the whole process come together, that everything works well together.
And they're pointing out now 2 exciting additions are the family bathrooms, and coming soon, the CAMC Play Patch. Can't wait for that. Spencer's here now with the final check of the forecast. And Spence, I want to commend you. The predictions for yesterday, nice in the morning, something that needs to get done, do it, which I did. And then when I went into work today, the rain started.
I saw one of my neighbors out putting up last-minute Christmas decorations this morning, so that did work out pretty good. So Don, the rain is here tonight. We'll see it end tomorrow, 53 degrees, so that puts you back to normal. A very cold night, 27 tomorrow night, 56 for Thursday and a dry day. Then we get into the rain, scattered stuff on Friday. Friday, and then more of these rounds of showers Saturday, Sunday. And so streams and creeks could start to run high by the time we reach Monday with a stalled front, and big downpours expected now late Monday into Tuesday. So something we'll keep our eye on. Look at those 60s. That's kind of remarkable throughout that stretch.
You got the rain with the periods of sunshine.
Couple little breaks. Yeah, farther south you are, the drier you'll be.
Thank you, Spence. Thanks for joining us on 13 News at 5. West Virginia Tonight Live is next. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.